Once again, it's Friday night. The Lone Star Varsity crew is here. We've got an awesome group in the building tonight. Thank you very much for watching the Lone Star Varsity High School Football Wrap-Up Show on Periscope. I'm Phil Torino. Just to take you through who we have in the building tonight. First of all, we have Brad Tollefson here. Krista Pirtle as well. No popcorn, though, for her to throw this week, so definitely happy about that. Mike LeBar in the building. We have some big-time stats stuff that we need to cover, including something pertaining to the area passing leaders. Carlos Silva also in the building, holding the mic that's going to stretch all the way down to stripes.
We're hoping so.
That's the plan right now. Brian Navarrete not currently here. He's on his way back from Muleshoe, but we're going to have him join us as all our guests do on Happy State Bank Hotline. So we're looking forward to that call. Stay tuned for that. Let's get right into it. We're going to start with some playoff stuff that's decided. We're going to just go through some of the results quickly. Krista, you were at Alton Hale Center. We're going to get to you in a moment. Just some news. Friendship, of course, its playoff standing not really impacted, but a late win against Amarillo High, very impressive there. Idalou picks up a district title by beating Spearman. That game up at Spearman. Also, Levelland drops a pretty significant loss to Pampa. But before we get into all those, Krista, what did you see Alton Hale Center tonight?
Hale Center had the lead at half. Then Alton came back and tied it, and it seemed like it would be something that would go back and forth. And then Alton lined up to run a double reverse, and Hale Center read it perfectly. Apparently, they had worked on it in practice all week long, and they executed it to perfection, caused the fumble, scored off that, and that just changed the momentum, allowed them some breathing room, and Hale Center looked good from then on out.
Did they tell you that Hale Center is going to play Canadian Thursday?
Yes. Where? I forgot.
It's
in Amarillo at that place.
Dick Vivens Stadium.
That place.
How do they feel about that situation in Hale Center?
I mean, they're going to, celebrate this win today, then they'll get ready for the big game against the Canadian, the top seed.
Canadian is that team.
Yeah.
That team.
They had the whole ice bath in the really cold weather, but they were loving life down there in Hale Center so far.
Now, where was the ice bath? Out on the field?
Yeah, I tried to avoid it, and I was successful.
I don't know if we've seen that before. It's like an inflatable,
No, it's
tub.
like when they bring the water cooler and they dump it on the coaches.
I thought you meant like an ice bath, like
Oh, no.
an actual ice bath.
No, that would have been weird. Not a singing picture of it. But they didn't.
We'll move on. Because before we get further lost in translation, Carlos, what do you have for us from Brownfield?
Well, I was talking to Brian Wells before the game. He said he wanted to see his team not create any turnovers, have any turnovers in the game. Unfortunately, on the first play of the game, opening kickoff, Jalen Nolan fumbled the ball. It appeared that Kermit had gotten the ball, but then he made a big play, hit the guy, actually got the ball back. And then Brownfield rolled to the first 14 points of the game thanks to Ezekias Marine with a 27-yard run. Then Nolan followed that up with a 6-yard run. Kermit would eventually slice the deficit in half thanks to a 56-yard pass from Avery Williamson to Jeremy Miranda. That was off a jailbreak screen that they had been working on throughout the game. They kind of faked it off, and Miranda was able to kind of take like a little post route there and just really got open. After that, scored the next 27 straight points, and they were winning 41-7, and they're in the postseason for the fourth straight time. And obviously everything is good in Brownfield. And
you had an interesting bite, though, about this would be the first back-to-back winning seasons, right, in quite some time?
Yeah, it's the first back-to-back winning season since 2002 and 2001 for the Cubs. So Brian Welch showing in his fifth season, obviously getting everything going, getting a solid foundation. One of that being Jalen Nolan, the sophomore quarterback who is offered by Texas Tech so far.
Yep. Thanks for that, Carlos. Chris, we have a question from the public.
I've got a question from Pauling.
Who's that?
He wants to know how Emory Giddens did. Is anyone in here surprised?
Daniel, you should kindly go back to your party, and we'll leave it at that. Is there anything else from the public right now?
Just my mom and my brother being very spirited, but that's about it.
About Pampa?
Yes.
They're Team Harvesters big time, right?
Oh, very much so.
# Go Harvesters.
They're cracking me up.
Is that what the kids use up in Pampa?
Yes, pretty much.
Hashtag or pitchfork. Put 2 pitchforks together. Like a
Right. I see
hashtag.
that. Yeah.
See
that'd
that? See what I did there?
That's what I'm getting. Oh, and Nick said to show Fox 34 some love.
Definitely. Once again, we absolutely appreciate Fox 34 sharing some of their highlights with us. I thought that it made the show look very, very crisp last week, and it definitely will as well this week. We're going to go over some of the scores quickly before we get Brian Navarrete on the phone. So if someone could be kind enough to just dial him up or prep him to dial up for us to call him shortly, that'd be great. Crosbyton 55, Lockney 20, Quanah 52, Rawls 13, New Deal 42, Floydada 14, Farwell 40, Spring Lake Earth 7, Borger 35, Seminole 27, Sweetwater 60, Lamesa 12, Pampa 42, Levelland 23. That's that district title game we alluded to. Shallow Water 63, Tornillo 6, Tascosa 43, Monterey 10. Another result, Post posted a 57-0 shutout of Stanton. So this entire year, Post has had 7 shutouts, including 5 straight. So it allowed 33 points the entire regular season. Who can we go to first? Can we go to Brian?
I got Brian.
Okay, joining us live on the Happy State Bank hotline is Brian Navarrete. Brian, you with me?
I can barely hear you, but yeah.
You want to hold it?
Brian, can you tell us a bit about Muleshoe tonight?
Yeah, actually, their game was actually pretty close there at the beginning. They at one point were tied 11-11. About a minute and 30 seconds left in the second quarter. It looked like the game was going to go tied at the halftime, but that Muleshoe offense, just with how fast it can produce, drove the ball downfield, scored another touchdown, and the Mules just took over momentum from there. They come out in the third quarter, they get the ball, they score again. They call it Little Will to turn the ball over, score again, much like the Mules do. And they just completely took over there in that second half. Danny Campos and his receivers they just seem really well, I don't know, coached, but no, they did really well tonight.
Now, this brings Campos with his 6 touchdowns, Brian. He currently has 49 touchdowns for the year combined. That's obviously through the regular season. If you recall, last year's leader in total touchdowns was Nick Gerber at 49, but that was through the whole thing after the playoffs as well. Is Campos in the mix now for Player of the Year?
I'm pretty sure he's sitting well ahead of a bunch of the players in the area. He performs really well, and also a lot of credit to his wide receivers. They do kind of come up with a lot of his yardage, and they do come down with some pretty tough passes there in the end zone.
Brian, before we let you go, can you describe for our audience how does it feel to be calling in on the Happy State Bank hotline? We just want to know for the culture.
It's a little difficult because, you're driving. It's kind of cold. I can barely hear anybody, but, overall I enjoyed the experience.
Now, how exactly is it cold? Are you on a flatbed truck talking to us? What exactly is cold?
I picked up this gentleman named Hank at Allsups, and he's driving for me while I sit on the back of my truck and call in.
Brian, we'll let you go. Enjoy the rest of your trip, and remember to be safe, though.
Thanks.
Bye, Brian.
That was Brian Navarrete on the way back from covering the Littlefield Muleshoe game in Muleshoe, so we definitely appreciate Brian taking a few minutes out of his very lengthy drive back from Muleshoe to chat with us. We have any other questions from the public?
Well, Brian just joined. Other than that, I may have missed something while Brian was on the phone. So if you sent something, send it again.
Definitely. Lubbock Christian lost at home to Colleyville Covenant Christian. That was a 37-20 game as well. You can read about it on LoneStarVarsity.com. Also a bit of a preview for state cross country, which takes place Saturday. We have a little piece on LoneStarVarsity.com about Cass Moore from Denver City. We touch on a little bit of Levelland as well with Morgan McCutcheon. So if you want to read about cross country, you can do so. We also have all of the volleyball pairings that'll be online as well. You can read those to keep up with where the area teams are in the playoffs. We're into the area round now. Before we wrap up with Mike LeBar and stats, I want to know if you have something to ask us, you can ask us in the app or tweet at us at Lone Star Varsity. So, Mike, while we give him the last chance to ask a question, what do you have for stats?
Well, we have the rushing leader for this season is Brant Schilling with 2,142 yards and 31 touchdowns, and Cooper Ogle is second with 2,013 yards and 34 rushing touchdowns. Your top scoring defense is Post, another shutout tonight, 33 points on the season. Carlos just told me they have outscored opponents 209-0 in district. Pretty amazing there. Your scoring leader for this season is Seagraves with 496 on the season, with New Deal coming right behind them at 475. And then we have a little bit of a close race here as far as their passing leader goes. Your passing leader is Nick Gerber with 3,252 yards and 28 touchdowns, and Danny Campos, 3,251 yards and 44 touchdowns. So pretty close race there, decided by 1 yard in the end.
Thank you very much, Mike. And you can keep up with all the stats that Mike puts together, and we publish those every Friday. Krista, what do you have?
Oh, does Campos lead in all classes in our area or just in 3A?
I am not sure. I know that he leads all of West Texas in passing touchdowns.
All of West Texas passing touchdowns.
Well, we should specify the South Plains,
Okay.
like our coverage area. But I would put money on his 44 touchdowns and 49 combined that he is head and shoulders above anyone else presently.
And Brian had a question that he, failed to ask on the hotline.
Yes.
Phil, who did you pick in the Amarillo Friendship game?
I picked the Sandys, and as we know, Friendship won. Brian was very confident about that.
His associate told him to pick Friendship. He said.
That's correct. Yeah, I was wrong about that one today. I'm trying to think if there were
And?
any other ones.
And?
Oh, yeah, the Loveland Pampa
There you go.
one. Yep, that's right. Those are my two blunders for the day.
I usually have like 7.
Any other questions before we wrap up?
Nope.
All right, cool. Guys, thank you again for watching. We definitely appreciate it. We'll be back for definitely all of our videos throughout this upcoming week to get you set for the playoffs. So for Brad, Carlos, Mike, and Krista, I'm Phil. We'll talk to you soon.